In my last video, I mentioned I enjoy movies where we see meaningful, organic character transformations. Realistically, I think I probably said those words a little too much, so I apologize for that. This week we're discussing Hallmark's third installment in the March Royal series. The first one, The Royal We, I found to be decent, but I didn't care for most of the supporting characters.
Utter betrayal!
It's hard to imagine flying without putting my shoes in a tub first.
The second one, The Reluctant Royal, I loved it.
Prepare to be...
What is the word?
gobsmacked.
The character development was paced well and it felt authentic.
That is the next Duke of Classic.
In other words, no sudden personality changes at the end because we were running out of time. And if you know, you know. So how about number 3? Royal-ish stars William Moseley and a newcomer to Hallmark, Nichole Sakura. It's about a European royal prince who visits an American theme park with his young daughter Rose.
Princess Cateronia Rose of Bella Maris.
Just Rose.
It's here where they meet Lacey, one of the theme park princesses,
Hello, children!
who ultimately develops a sweet connection with Rose.
Felt safe on the carousel with you.
Only Lacey doesn't know that Rose is actually a real princess. I mean, Rose told her, but she didn't believe her.
Au contraire, every little girl deserves to be a princess.
It's a cute idea, and Lacey loves playing a theme park princess. But what happens when she's invited to the royal palace to continue mentoring the young Rose to help her overcome a fear of horses?
Given that I'm going to be gone for so long, 3 weeks.
Well, it's Hallmark, so of course we know how it'll all turn out.
These are two people who quite clearly have a romantic connection.
But is the journey worth watching?
I had no idea there was so much interest to tour the palace.
Well, I think that's worth talking about, so let's dive right in and get started. Hi, I'm Stephanie, and welcome to the Magical Movie Club. Today we're talking about Royal-ish, the last of Hallmark's royal movies premiering in March. This movie opens over in Europe at this stunning castle. Here we see Prince Henry sharpening his fencing skills with the head of his security detail, discussing the fact that he's waiting to find out if and or when his mother might abdicate her throne, thereby making him the next king.
Until the Order of the Lily is over.
What could you possibly learn between now and then?
Whether or not I'm ready to be king.
Now, as I mentioned in the intro, he also has a daughter, Rose. She's a sweet, somewhat mature 8-year-old who's already been through a lot. And her father said she has a lot on her plate.
What if I can't ride for the Order of the Lily's procession? I'll be the first one in the family to fail that.
So what's that all about? Well, for one, she lost her mother to cancer a few years ago, and now her nanny is getting married and leaving her. She also recently fell off a horse, and she's afraid to ride again.
With the pressure to ride it in the procession and the upcoming departure of Miss Daphne has hit her hard.
And to top it off, there's a ceremonial procession coming up soon, and she's old enough that she's now expected to ride in it this year.
I read about princes and princesses in fairy tales, and they seem so much braver than I'll ever be.
Her father tries to convince her that even fairy tale princesses are afraid sometimes, but when she doesn't believe him, well...
Then I shall have to prove it.
But he's also going to have to tell his disapproving mother, the queen, first.
Consistency. Showing up.
Showing up is all I do, Mother.
So how does he propose to do that? He takes her on a trip to America to visit a theme park.
Emerald Parks, once upon a time.
Obviously a mock-up of one of my favorite places. It's there where we meet Nichole Sakura's character, Lacey, performing as Princess Sweet Pea.
There was a pea under my mattress!
She lives with a roommate and loves her job, but it doesn't pay well enough to cover her student loan debt. So she's also got a second job as a waitress.
I picked up an extra shift at the diner tonight. I should be home by 7.
In talking to her roommate, we learn that she's becoming concerned that being a theme park princess can't last forever. And the older she gets, the sooner she may be aging out of the role.
Princess roles are usually in their early 20s, which I am not.
But little does she know that this next Princess Sweet Pea tea party is going to completely change her life. This is the day she meets Prince Henry and his daughter Rose.
I am Her Royal Highness, Princess Cateronia Rose of Bella Marie.
The conversation happens to shift to how to overcome being nervous
Oh, yes, I get nervous all the time.
and what it means to be brave.
Facing the thing that makes you scared and doing it anyhow? That's bravery.
Rose is quite taken by her and insists on seeing her again the next day.
Is anything they want, but as Princess Sweet Pea.
So what does any good prince do for his daughter on her birthday? He hires Princess Sweet Pea for the day to be their personal guide around the theme park.
The Crown Prince Henry Frederick Augustus Sabine and Princess Katrina Rose.
Ah, the benefits of being royalty, I suppose. One of the rides they went on happened to be a carousel, which frightened Rose at first, even though she acknowledges the horses aren't real.
Oh, you're joining us.
Wouldn't miss it.
Lacey does a wonderful job of helping her. The day happens to go so well
I think this might be my favourite birthday ever.
that Prince Henry asks Lacey to come back with them to Bella Maritz.
How?
By helping prepare her to ride in the procession for the Order of the Lily.
Of course, he neglects to tell his mother, the Queen.
But her real name is Lacey Pope, which Papa said we should call her by when she's here.
Now, throughout the whole movie, there's an undertone of the Queen's disapproval of Henry.
I need you to take your responsibilities seriously.
She doesn't feel he's serious enough about taking over the crown anytime soon.
I cannot help but note this as yet another example of Prince Henry's unreadiness to assume the crown anytime soon.
He, on the other hand, complains all the time about how he has no control over any of the decisions in his life.
Sometimes I feel I serve the same purpose as decoration.
And more importantly, he wants control over how he raises his daughter.
I should at least have the final say on how my daughter is educated.
So how does Lacey fit into their lives? Or does she?
Can't you change how things are done?
I'd very much like to, but there are obstructions.
Does she stir things up on her arrival?
You don't have like a map of this place, do you? They're just really handy for big places like this, you know.
Of course she does.
Perhaps there's another smaller horse, like that one.
But she also does a wonderful job of helping Rose.
What if I sat in the saddle and you held onto the reins and we didn't go anywhere?
I noticed this movie follows the exact same formula as many others that have been made before. An American is invited to stay at a royal palace in Europe, and she questions all of their traditions. Meanwhile, we have a prince who's unhappy with the pressures of everything that's required of him by birth. And did I mention that the Queen and her chief advisor are not happy that Prince Henry might be interested in this American girl?
These are two people who quite clearly have a romantic connection.
Or that the Queen tries to intervene by setting him up with someone she approves of.
Lady Sophia. Speaking. It's Queen Eloise.
Big surprise, right? So for this new one to impress me, there needs to be something really special that stands out about it. Could it be the theme park princess origins?
If you wish to greet or to take a photo with His Royal Highness, please form a line.
Maybe. She did handle that crowd awfully well. Or how about how she interacted with Rose?
We built a fort out of pillows and we ate lots of ice cream.
She was not only wonderful in helping her around horses, she kind of took over the role of interim nanny. And by the end, Rose did ride her horse beautifully in the processional. Although that still was not enough to impress the Queen.
That was quite a trick you managed.
Or her privy advisor.
And that now it is time for you to go.
So I'm sure it's no big surprise to see that Lacey returns home depressed.
No, I'm going home.
And yet, just a few hours later, the Queen tells him this.
If in the parlance of fairy tales you will go get the girl.
Unfortunately, nothing else happened in between those scenes to show us why the Queen changed her mind. All I was left to conclude was that there were only 9 minutes left in the movie, so they had to quickly wrap things up. And that's never good. I also wanted to discuss the role of Prince Henry for just a moment. Now, William Moseley played him as a sad but very sweet, loving father.
I think you're quite brave.
But I don't feel brave.
Sometimes his face would light up when he was in a scene with Lacey.
Lacey.
Hi.
But in all honesty, I didn't feel enough chemistry between the two. I'm sure it's a difficult balance to play a role with passion and at the same time not come off too strong. I know when I reflect back on how I've critiqued different movies, sometimes it looks like they try too hard and it doesn't feel genuine. This one is kind of the opposite. I didn't feel enough energy on screen until maybe the very end.
Tried to call you.
I know. I was afraid to tell you that I was leaving.
I won't deny the ending was sweet and it made me smile, but no goosebumps. And I have a feeling in a year from now, I won't likely remember much about this at all other than that bubblegum pink dress. So I think I'll give this one a 3.5 out of 5. It was good, but I couldn't find anything special about it. On IMDb, I would think a 6.4 is fair, but it's actually sitting a little higher than that at a 6.7. Clearly, you love Hallmark Royal movies too. Well, I think that wraps up my review of Royal-ish. In the next video, we'll be discussing the first of Hallmark's latest movie series, Hearts Around the Table, starring Mindy Cohn. Does anyone remember her as Natalie on The Facts of Life? Well, now she's playing a role closer to that of Mrs. Garrett in this series. The first one is called Jenna's First Love with Ashley Newbro and Steve Lund. I can already tell it's going to be a little bit similar to the Wedding Veil series, in that all of the cast will carry over at some point into all 4 movies, but each individual movie will focus primarily on one couple. Until then, and as always, thank you so much for being a part of the Magical Movie Club. If you like this, it would help me a great deal if you would consider hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel. As always, I have links to the preview video as well as the movie page for more details about Royal-ish in the description below. I'll be back next week to chat more about our favorite magical movies.
Okay, well, I think I'm gonna skedaddle now. That means leave.
I know what it means.